it's very important that we have a clear vision for what we're doing with our money. And if we don't have a clear vision, there's a good chance that we're going to end up nowhere. We're going to be like a raft out in the ocean that just goes with the waves that pushes us from one place to another. So my thing is that if we're trying to close the racial wealth gap, if we're basically trying to build wealth, if we're trying to create generational wealth, we need a defined destination. And once you hit that destination, you can go to the next level if you want, or you can choose to do something else with your time.
Do you believe that anyone can become rich?
I am a firm believer, and there is evidence time and time again to prove it, that anyone, regardless of your race, regardless of your education, regardless of your financial starting point, can become a millionaire and become rich and beyond if they're willing to make the necessary sacrifices, if they're willing to put in the effort, if they're willing to be consistent. I believe anybody can do that. And time again, it's been proven. Just look at the Forbes 400. Probably nearly over 50% of them are self-made. It's been proven time again, regardless of your color. I've heard the story of Tyler Perry many times, where he basically started from nothing, came from nothing and built wealth. It happens time again. Now you might say, well, he's incredibly talented. He's right, but there's a whole bunch of other millionaires that we don't know that did it, starting from the bottom too. And I happen to be one of them.
For anyone listening or watching the show right now, making maybe $40,000 a year, how should they go about making it happen?
Well, first of all, they should get my book, because my book talks about the 8 steps of my Millionaire Money Moves process. And the first step of that process is plan. You have to have a plan. And part of that plan is you're going to create what I call your Millionaire Money Moves master plan. And the first step in that plan, after you document your current income and your net worth plan and your objective of how you're going to grow your net worth, is your earn plan. You have to have a plan for how am I going to increase my earnings, because I got to have fuel for my rocket. And so there are several ways I talk in my book about increasing your earning from your main hustle, which is your job, and getting income from your side hustle, to invariably take the income from your main hustle and your side hustle and put it into your investment hustle, so that one day your investment hustle will do all the work. That's the process. So as long as you're willing to work hard, and I'm telling you, there's no one in this world that makes over $1 million a year or makes over $500,000 a year that's not making extreme sacrifices of their time and their effort to get there. I mean, you look at football players having to travel state to state within a weekly basis. They're very committed to the process. A lot of work. You look at actors that have to go to different countries at various times for years sometimes. You look at anybody. You look at people on Wall Street. You look at consultants. You look at anybody. So that's the first thing within your mindset that you have to accept, that it's going to take a lot of effort. And if you're not willing, like I said, anybody can do it if you're willing to put the effort in. If you're not willing to put the effort in, there's nothing anyone can do for you. So that's the first step. And after you do that, then it's a matter of what you do with that additional income. But the name of the game is you have to put extreme effort in it. Live extremely frugal so that you can maximize that capital and invest as much as you can intensely and consistently over time, and you'll get there.
In Business Insider, you talked about 5 steps to building Black wealth, right? One of the steps is leveraging entrepreneurship. Do you believe that we should all be entrepreneurs?
You know, I believe that entrepreneurship is a very powerful way of building wealth. Why? Because entrepreneurs have an ability to make an extreme amount of money through their business, through retained earnings, through profits. And so that gives you an edge. And out of that, you can leverage through leveraging your employees or leveraging products or whatever, you're able to grow your sales and increase your profits. But there are many people that are 9-to-5 millionaires. One of my little brothers, who I've been mentoring since college, is one of those guys. He owns over 36 apartment units, and he works as an executive director at a software company out of San Francisco. So the whole point is there are some people who work in their company and they continue to buy their company stock, or they buy other company stocks. So the whole point is there are so many different ways in this country to do it. There are some people, like one of my frat brothers in college, who's been a DJ. He used to DJ our frat parties, and now he still DJs. And now he's got other DJs working for him, but he still works 9 to 5. So on the weekends and evenings, he's out there promoting his DJ. In fact, he came to the Black Wealth Summit because I had to have him DJ, because that was our plan back in the day, that when I do the summit, that he's going to be over there spending. So the whole point is there are so many ways. And that's why I wrote the book. That's why I'm out here trying to provide real life practical solutions for our people so that they can stay focused. A lot of times we lose focus because it's not moving fast enough. But building wealth is a slow process.
You mentioned that you have 3 kids, right?
Yes. I actually have 4. I have a stepdaughter that I raised, so I claim that I have 4 kids.
So you have 4 kids.
Yeah.
What are some of the pieces of advice that you've shared with them so that they are prepared to maintain and expand the generational wealth?
It's really interesting because I really did not, we talked about stuff. I made sure they understood a balance sheet and stuff like that. But really what it is like, I was divorced when my kids were 7, and they would spend their summers with me and we would travel together. That was my way of, I'm saying, okay, if we have limited time, we're going to make it memorable. So we traveled a lot and we spent time traveling and those types of things. But really what they saw was what James Baldwin really talked about. He has a quote that says, children have never been very good at listening to their elders, but they've never failed to imitate them. So what happens is my kids were imitating me and I didn't even know it. My kids are really good with money. One's getting his master's in finance at the Ohio State University. The other one's finishing his undergraduate degree. He's more into rap and that stuff, and he's getting his degree in marketing. A really good salesman. And the other one wants to be a doctor. He's getting into medical school. But they're very interested in investing. They never got into that tennis shoe thing where they sit outside all night waiting for tennis shoes to be sold. They just never tripped on things. And they lived with their mom in Ohio, but they lived a middle-class, modest life. I didn't buy them everything I could afford to buy them, but they didn't have to pay for their college either. And they didn't have to worry about how their college was going to get paid, but they just didn't develop that thirst for these things. So I think that how parents live their own life is number one, the most important thing. And at the same time, when you get a chance to educate them about wealth, but the most important thing is not really about to do with money. It's really the mindset stuff. See, the mindset piece is the hardest piece to get in the journey. My book is about 3 things. It's about developing a millionaire mindset, which is the offense. It's adopting millionaire values, which I call the defense. And it's making millionaire money moves, which is the playbook. And so these things have to work in concert with each other, or else nothing happens. Because if you don't have the right mindset and value set, you can't make millionaire money moves consistent long enough to have an impact. So they all have to work, and they have to be a continuous improvement process throughout it. And as we as African Americans, because our cultural experiences, where we come from, how our mindsets are shaped, we have more work to do. We have a lot more work to do in that mindset department than the others. And that's why it takes us so much longer and it's so much harder for us.
You're also a real estate investor. Tell me about your real estate journey. What do you invest in? When did you start?
Well, my first piece of property I bought was coming right out of college. I worked a consulting job for a plastic surgeon while I was in school. All this is in the book. And he paid me $25 an hour. I saved $7,000 coming out of college, or $6,000 to $7,000. Bought my first piece of property in Pacoima, California, which is the barrio, which is the Mexican ghetto there at the time, right around the corner from where Rodney King got beat up back in the 90s. And so I bought that condo for $105,000, $115,000, because that's what I could afford. And then after that, I bought my first house at the age of 28, and I built the house. But then after that, in 2003, after reading actually Rich Dad Poor Dad, which really inspired me, but it didn't give me a clear roadmap, I bought my first piece of multifamily property in Jersey City, New Jersey, and was able to cash flow it. And I bought my second one in Washington, D.C. a month later. Then I bought my third one in Jersey City, another apartment building. And then I bought my first commercial piece of property or office building in 2005, where I moved my staff. And I continue to buy it. So now I own other commercial properties that I'm buying and flipping into salon studios. I own land in various places. So I really like real estate because it's pretty straightforward. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to understand that you got to rent it out for more than what your payments are. And it's also one of those things, it's a gift that keeps giving. It always appreciates slowly, but it's a great investment class.
Is there anything that you wish you had known earlier on your journey as a real estate investor that you can share with the dreamers?
Oh, yes. What I wish I would have done earlier, and I wrote this in my book to college students, is that when I came out, I bought a condo right out of college. I wish I would have bought a duplex or a threeplex. And so I'm telling college students when they graduate from college, their first piece of property, and my assistant, she's doing this playbook as we speak, should be a multifamily, and then rent out every piece of thing you can. Meaning, like, you just take one room, you rent out the room, you rent out the other apartments to where you live rent free. And then you keep saving your money for the next thing. And then when you're ready, you go buy the next thing and potentially take money out of this property and to continue to build. Why? Because multifamilies are income producing properties. They're valued based on their cap rate or their net operating income. And so they're valued differently than a single family home, which is subjected to the economic forces of comparable prices in the neighborhood. So if you have a multifamily, it's based on the income that you're able to generate. So I would have gotten started there sooner, and that would have catapulted my wealth growth. The other thing I would have done differently is that I was still coming out of school, still dealing with my own image challenges. I didn't feel like it was a challenge there, but I was a sharp dresser, best dressed in high school, really trying to make a statement about who I was by my fine clothing. Came out of college wearing Hugo Boss suits and Ferragamo shoes. I'm working at a laboratory dressed like I'm on Wall Street when everybody else is wearing jeans and button-down shirts and tennis shoes. You get what I'm saying? I'm driving a BMW like I'm an executive because I'm projecting this desire for something that I wanted or something that I felt was important. And we all our young people are, and some of our older people are fighting for that kind of respect. And so we overcompensate by putting our money into those things. But what we should do is keep our self-esteem in check and make sure that our net worth is the definition of our real self-worth, as opposed to what people think about us or how they judge us.